here, and it's kind of a bit gross. I take it and I wash it, and then I put it in a bottle sterilizer so that all the germs go. And then once that comes out, the hair gets sorted. So I like to try and make sure that I know exactly where the horse's hair comes from. So this is a horse called TP.
Is it clean?
Yep. And this is a horse called Jasper. And so I've got hundreds and hundreds of these.
Whoa.
And then I just thought I'd show you guys a finished one. Now, do you reckon you can be really, really gentle if I pass this around?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it very fragile?
So this one is from a horse called Tiger.
Oh, tiger.
And this one is from a horse called Mickey.
Mickey Mouse. That's nice.
Okay, now the tools that you're going to need. First you're going to need the hair. And if you can't get a hold of any horse hair, if you don't have any friends with horses, you can actually get like hair from, I think you can get it from $2 shops, like little hair extensions and things. It's not expensive. And it'll, yeah, just $2. And it'll come in these little wefts. So I've got two little bits here, and see they're joined at the end with hot glue. So the hair's not going to come out. So it's all joined together. And then what you need next is you need some wire, and you can get this at a bead shop. So you've got your copper wire, got your horsehair, and then what you want to do is you want to choose what kind of size you want to do your weaving with, because we're going to be winding the horsehair around. I could make a really thick one using this kind of dowel, or I could make something that size, which is a bit thinner. You can just get these at hardware stores, or you can use a broom handle. And what I've been using to make the smaller ones are knitting needles. So I'm sure that there are people in your family who might have knitting needles, or you can get them pretty cheaply from Spotlight or the warehouse. But I'm going to use these two today. And then you're going to need some super glue, or if you don't have super glue, you could use some clear nail varnish. And then you need a few little bits and pieces, like some little scissors are quite helpful. Maybe little tools like this. Side cutters maybe. And the other thing that you're going to need that's super important is one of these clamps.
Clamp, yeah.
Yeah, so the clamp is really important because we're going to use that to actually hold everything together while we're weaving. Okay, so I'm going to pop a clamp on the table, like this. I think I'm going to make one this size. So, clamp that down like that. And I'm going to use this large piece here. And so this piece of copper wire, I think is probably going to be long enough. It's almost twice the length of the hair that I'm going to use. So that's usually a pretty good way of figuring this sort of stuff out. So what you do is you fold the wire in half, like this. You put a little twist in the top a couple of times, like that. And then you clamp the whole thing together. Now this might be a little bit harder for you guys to see it down the front for you to see. But you clamp all of it together. And now one of the reasons why I wanted to video this is because there's going to be a lot of people who find out about the project after the project is finished, and they're going to want to be able to make their own. And I don't want anyone to miss out or feel like they've missed out. And also this technique is a really old technique and it doesn't belong to me. I think it's something that everyone should be able to enjoy. So, you take your hair and you lay it over and you create a loop. You guys see? So you've got a loop like that. You push it right up to the end, and then you wrap the wire over. Yeah. it's a little bit tricksy. And then you wrap the hair around, and then you cross the wire over again, and you kind of tighten it all up.
It's like patching.
And can you see it's kind of a little bit like plaiting a braid, except you've got a knitting needle right in the middle of it. And once again, loop it round, cross the wire over. Does that make sense? And again, loop it round and cross the wire over. And I've done this a lot, so mine's quite neat and it won't start out looking like this. But with a bit of practice you can get super quick at doing it. So if I finish this off, and the other thing I've found is that the copper wire will bite into your hands. So if I know that I'm going to be spending a couple of hours doing this, I tend to put plasters over my fingers because I'm constantly wrapping the wire around them, and after a while that can get really sore. So we'll go all the way down to the end. Who knows how to knit?
Not me.
Yeah? Yeah?
I kind of do.
Kind of do? Who knows how to do a plait, like a braid? Yeah, yeah. So this is really, really similar. Except you just have something round in the middle to hold it all out. And once I've finished this, you'll see it. It'll have this fantastic loop look to it. Now, with every single rosette that's finished, if I think about it from the washing, the sterilising, the sorting, and then the weaving, it probably took me an hour to do each one. So it requires a bit of patience, but they definitely look really cool when they're finished. Almost there. Okay, now when you get to the end it's a little bit tricky. So what you want to do is you want to take your loose ends and you want to wrap them around the end like that, so that all of the hair is kind of caught up in this lovely loop, like that. And then you want to twist it off. So part one is done. So what I want to do now is I want to make sure that I twist the copper ends a little bit tighter so that the hair is properly held in place. And I'll do that on the other end. You can see why these are really, really useful. They've got little grips on the end. And now if I've held it all tightly together and I've done it right, I'll be able to slide this off and it'll all stay together. See that?
It's like a caterpillar.
Yeah. And so now that that's done, I'm just going to do a little bit of trimming.
That's a black one.
Do a little bit of trimming here. Now, what I do now, generally, is I pop a little bit of glue just to secure the hair right at the end so it doesn't pull out. Just like that. Let that dry. If you're not using super glue, you can use a little bit of clear nail varnish or something like that. That away. So, do you mind if I borrow that finished one for a second? Can you see in this finished one how the loops work? So that one there has been made with a bigger piece of dowel rather than a knitting needle. It's got quite big loops. And that one there is made with really tiny ones. Okay, so once that's done, we're going to trim off the ends. I'm going to trim off this little bit that's sticking out. Okay, and now I'm going to decide, alright, how do I want to do this? I think I want to curl it round and make it like a little sort of snake loop. Like that. So once I've got it into a shape that I like, I'm going to flip it over and twist it all together. Trim that little bit off. And that's how you do it. Thank you very much. And so what we'll do is we'll pop the video up online, and if that's something that you're interested in trying, you can follow all the steps on YouTube.